Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. I'm going to cover a couple of topics on this one, but we are going to talk about John Swinney. He was seen by the party members as the safest possible pair of hands to take over the party after Hamza Yousaf departed with ignominy. They all thought he's been around, he's got a lot of experience, which he has, and he was involved in making the SNP seriously electable, which he has. All those things are true, and so they put their trust in this man. And then he becomes First Minister. Then he has his first proper First Minister's questions, and everything turns to a complete bucket of horse manure. Because, of course, it was the day after it'd been announced that Michael Matheson was going to face serious censure. And instead of doing what anyone sensible would have done, which is, look, sorry, Michael, I know we're chums, I know you've served the party well, but you're going to have to eat your biscuits on this one. You're going to have to lump it. We can't be seen to be defending what you've done, especially as we're going into an election now. But that's not what he did. And it has baffled and bewildered a lot of his colleagues. Senior colleagues. No names are being mentioned, but some senior colleagues are saying that John has really screwed the pooch on this one. That's not the words they used. It involved the F word, mainly, a lot of times. And they're all saying that he shouldn't have done it. What on earth possessed him? They understand his loyalty, but there comes a limit. And so, having plunged the party into a deep, deep hole of controversy over that, a few hours later, on the very same day, I mean, the timing was perfect, I suppose. You couldn't have planned it better. Operation Branchform, which has been hanging over the party like the sword of Damocles for several years now, suddenly comes to a head. And the sword drops. And it stabs Peter Murrell. And so he's got to deal with that. And it's like all these things going wrong all at once. Then how does he deal with it? What does he say? Oh, no, we've got trust in the system, he says. We trust the system. How could you be trusting the system for that if you're moaning about the system over Michael Matheson and saying, oh, it's biased, it's prejudiced, it's wrong? The guy hasn't got a clue. He's out of his depth. And I think that a lot of these people who previously thought he was the big safe pair of hands have come to realise that he's now, and almost immediately it's taken over, an absolute liability, possibly even a bigger liability than Hamza Yousaf was. I know that's hard to believe, but it seems to be the way it's going. And so what are they going to do? They can't get rid of him now. They've got to keep him in place until after the election, then hope that they can shift him. He'll be under no obligation to go, as you know. The SNP have got some very strange, archaic rules. And the Parliament, you can't just get rid of people either. It all needs to change, doesn't it? So he could be there for, quite a while, until maybe 2026, then go just before and allow Flynn to go up, become an MSP, take over the party, and then fight and lose again. There's no way out. And then finally, at the same time, actually the next day, it was revealed how much debt they've got, and he had to physically admit they haven't got enough money to fight this election. And they're begging people, and they're desperate, and they're saying, please, you, go out, find some friends, try and get them to join the party. Get 5 friends to join. It's not good, is it? It's a very bad look for him. And so this supposedly safe pair of hands is looking a bit of a, no-hoper. Hardly the best goalkeeper in the world, is he? Anyway, we've got that. Now, I also owe a little bit of an apology, and it isn't entirely my fault. I may have misled you, because I said, as we were talking about Matheson, that the Greens were going to vote against him. Now, I'm going to blame Press and Journal on this one, because they came up with a story, and their headline was that the Greens, and Harvey said this, they weren't going to support any further sanctions against Michael Matheson. And it said they accepted that the system was flawed and that the system was prejudiced and that. And now, of course, I've read that and I've seen it, and it was just like a flash headline. It wasn't nothing major. It was a very short piece because it was new. And I read that as being they're not going to vote for him. Turns out, yes and no. They're not going to vote against the sanctions that he's got. So it is likely that he will actually face punishment, probably. But what they're not doing is they're not going to back the Conservative motion, which is only a motion to resign. He's under, again, no obligation to do so. It's not enforceable. But I think if everybody, or at least if a majority of Holyrood said that they want him to resign, then I think at that point even he would have to see it was untenable going forward. Of course, he's not going to. He needs the money. So I apologise for that. That was me misunderstanding a rather vague statement put out by the Press and Journal. I've subsequently seen it in the Record and in the National, what they're actually doing. So it has been corrected. So I'm correcting myself. I admit my errors. And another thing which I just need to clear, as you're watching this on a Sunday morning, I'm going to be going into hospital. I don't know how long for. I'll still try to do shorts while I'm in there, but it's pretty serious. So it looks like I'm going to be in hospital for 4 or 5 days, maybe a week. Who knows? So I just want to thank you all for all the support that you've been giving, and ask that you do continue to tune in. I'll do my best to get stuff out on a fairly regular basis, best as I can while I'm in hospital, however it goes. So we're still going to try and get them out. There's still a lot of stuff going on, so I'm definitely going to be doing something, but I obviously won't be in the studio. I'll be in the ward. Great, isn't it? The only trouble with hospitals, they're full of sick people. But I mean, I must be honest and say, at least it's not a Scottish hospital. I may be able to get in. I won't be queuing for 8 hours in an ambulance outside in a car park. No sign of that getting better anytime soon. But hey-ho. Maybe, getting back to the original one, it's time for John Swinney to consider his position already and let someone else have a go. Because they ain't going to win anything, are they? Never mind. Anyway, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I want you to take care. Like I say, I'm going to take care of myself for a couple of days, but I will be back and I will speak to you later. I'll try and squeeze an arse. My shoulders so sore, but bye.